Off to work I go. Will I wear makeup today? Nobody knows. I could be having another cup of coffee and relaxing. However, once I get in front of the mirror, I know there's work to be done. Because as much as I don't want to succumb to the fillers, the nose jobs, the Botox, the facelifts, to the whatever, I still want to present my best self. I still take pride in how I present myself to the world. I have potions, elixirs, and all sorts of kinds of things to help me do that. That's all that I can give in the staying forever young department. It's all I'm willing to give. Every day of my professional life, excluding my 20s, because there was nothing professional about me in my early 20s, you'd be lucky if I showed up to work not hungover. Every day of my professional life has been an internal battle of whether to wear makeup or not. A bare face invites the comments and questions concerning your sleep and health. You look tired. Are you sick? No, Judy. I'm overeducated, underemployed, underpaid, and aging like milk with the nonstop chaos and potential collapse of the world as we know it, and it's all sucking my soul and stressing me out. I have come to terms, I have accepted, I have come to peace with, I understand that this is the cutest that I'll ever be. This is the youngest that I will ever be. So I've always had a love-hate relationship with makeup and just beauty standards in general. Perhaps it's because I was never good at applying makeup or being like ultra feminine. I have the tendency to fall down, bump into things. I'm just not graceful. And there were times that I was really anti-makeup and then really consumed with makeup, consumed with how I looked. I, in my 20s, definitely canceled a night out because I couldn't find anything to wear, or I didn't feel good, because I didn't feel that I looked good. Such vapid and silly things, but I look back and I laugh at my old self, or my younger self, if you will, at how I was and the things that I did. And as a woman who's always kind of fed into beauty standards, I bought the products, I've dressed in a particular way, I've emulated other women in hoping to increase my desirability or attention or whatever have you. I'm diving into these beauty standards to better understand myself so that I can go on with my life with some peace of mind. I highly recommend Girl on Girl, how pop culture turned a generation of women against themselves. It is a fascinating book, and it's taught me a lot about myself. That's encouraged me to move on from this superficial, ridiculous conversation about whether to let myself age gracefully, which I think is just the stupidest term. I'm just aging. I am just existing. I am just living my life. I don't want to feel obligated to continue to try to meet or exceed the beauty standards that are placed on women, no matter what age they are. I'm just exhausted with this idea of who I'm supposed to continue to be for other people, because I don't know how staying young is going to serve me outside of my ego and self-esteem. I wear makeup to work because I decide the battles that I want to have, and I don't want to battle my self-esteem on a daily basis with comments about how tired I look or am I sick, because I just chose not to wear makeup and this is my real face. All the time, effort, money, and just hoopla that went into trying to present the closest to beauty standards that I could get without surgery, basically, or without medical assistance. Perfection, 400 years of women's quest for beauty. And I guess that I am on a quest, this whole aging beauty, understanding it more, trying to reconcile with myself with that I'm not young anymore and that my face is going to continue to age unless I do something about it. And do I want to do something about it? I've looked at aging differently as I get older, and the things that I've seen. Also, my mom passed away at 68, which isn't super young, but it's not super old either. And that to me, not that I didn't have value in life, or value on life itself, but really struck home for me that aging is a privilege. That experience changed a lot of my perspective on what I see about life. And then all these other deaths that had happened in around a year or two of the time my mom passed away, this harsh reality put in my face. The more I thought about life and how I wanted to experience it going forward, and then like what limited time you really have in the grand scheme of things. Like we gotta work, we have to do the adulting as like grocery shop and fix things around the house and take care of our lives to keep them intact. Extra time to play with isn't that much to begin with. You can do your best to enjoy, every moment of your life, but like it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine and butterflies. So using your time wisely in the sense that like when you have a little bit of free time, like do you really want to spend half an hour to an hour getting ready just on your face? Spend the kind of money and kind of time to get surgeries and procedures or whatever cause you to have to take some time away from the public eye because you're looking a little crazy with all, this whole new modification of your body. Do I want to spend my time healing from something, a choice of mine to reconstruct my body to be more pleasing to the eye, to make myself feel better about aging? And it's like, I don't think I do. A few years ago, probably, I want to say like my 36th or 37th birthday, I was just surrounded. This is your real life antidote of like, get off the internet, get off Instagram. Anywhere you go, it's just like these perfect creatures. They've all like, it's filters, but it's also like the fillers and the Botox and the nose jobs and the DSL modification. There are things that I don't even know that you can do to make yourself just absolutely freaking gorgeous. And so you're seeing this and it's not real. Like these perfectly crafted faces of a goddess were just all the time on my feed, and it was making me feel real secure because I spent a good majority of my life being angry or giving really strong facial expressions that I have some creases in my face. It is what it is. And I did not at 20 because we did not have this kind of access to information. In my teens and in my 20s, I didn't take that great care of my skin. And there's genetic factors, as to why my skin may be a little bit more crepe-ish than others. I toyed with the idea of sticking some chemicals in my face because at the time I was in sales marketing, working for a huge communications company. So I was making fairly good money. It felt fairly secure. And I was like, you know what? Let me treat myself to a little like glow up, a little beautification, a little youth, and fill up these crevices, these craters. I did not. I ended up getting a facial instead and asking the woman to electrocute my face in hopes that it would just appear a little bit more refreshed, just to give me a little bit more hope in life. It did not. I didn't enjoy someone rubbing all over my face. It's just not for me. It's not for me. It probably would do me good because if you can't tell, this pimple is very distracting. I already have a mole on my face. That is kind of why this video came sooner than I had anticipated or felt inspired to do this video earlier than anticipated because of this pimple and how still almost at 40 I'm like messing with it and not quite understanding why at 40 I'm getting pimples. I didn't really have an issue with it when I was younger. Since I moved to the United States, I'm not saying it's the water, I'm not saying it's not the water. So at 37 I did toy with the idea of starting like pumping my face, but my apprehension to it was the money and the time. When does it end? And I have a very addictive personality in so many ways that also is a reason that I'm glad I didn't grow up in the States because God knows where I'd be. No, joking, jokes. No, stuff scares me. Hard stuff scares me. I'm just like, I dabble, I dibble, but I don't do all that. Yeah, and I just feel like, well, if I can do this, then I can do that. Like my whole life, I've been, I didn't get the doe eyes, I didn't get full lips, I didn't get any kind of body, and for the most part I was like, just skateboard. It just like there was nothing happening on either side, flat, stiff as a board. Yeah, I had in my mind like I do all these modifications when I get some boobies, I'm gonna get a nose job, I'm gonna like remove this mole, because like my mom tried to save me. She really steered me away from like harping on my looks and like she's like, beauty fades, like personality, intelligence stays forever as long as you don't get hit with the early dementia and the early Alzheimer's and stuff. It's like you got a good run, a much longer run on what you got going up here, than on the outside. And I tried to take that to heart. I really did. But it was hard for me. It was hard for me growing up. I did fight with beauty standards, either trying to obtain them or then being angry at them, and then being angry at my body, my looks, because I couldn't achieve that naturally. Before, surgeries were, hush hush, people get facelifts, things like that. But like, we've come to a whole new extreme where it's almost as if you dare, like, it's how dare you come out looking the way you do, because it's a choice. It's a choice to look like you're aging. It's a choice to be ugly, because now you can modify everything, and you should. And as I'm approaching 40, how I want to spend the next half of my life, hopefully, knock on wood, there's more to worry about as far as a quality of life, or having a good life. And I know there's pretty privilege, and I understand that professionally and socially and romantically that the beauty standards have a real effect on whether you win in life, and whether you get that promotion, whether you get that lover, whether it is, because if we can acknowledge pretty privilege, we can acknowledge that there's an ugly curse as well. It's a very interesting thing that I want to dive deeper in, and that's why I didn't want to make this video so centered around beauty standards too much, because of the fact that I'm reading this book. It's fascinating. I'm not finished yet. This spoke to me on a level I have never felt so seen or heard in my life. This was phenomenal. Sophie Gilbert is a phenomenal writer, and this book just like wrapped up my teenage years and like beyond so well, to have it so beautifully articulated. Whew. Guys, to get this book. And so like, I think that I'm just like more hyper aware of it because of my aging phase, the backlash of aging, the books that I'm reading, and I'm just so, I used to feel conflicted, and now I feel, I don't know, is that I'd rather spend my money on a real ROI, because in some sense I am pleasing myself by not having to look at my aging face, only because society has told me aging is not cute, not on trend, and is a personal choice. I am at the age where I don't want to do things for other people unless they are feeding me, funding me, or we fornicating, and that's my husband. He can love me as I am, and I can love myself as I am. People are just gonna have to deal with it, because I don't want to spend 40 years of my life chasing something that I had the privilege of having. My 20s, my 30s. I understood the assignment. I understood that I would never look as good as I did in my 20s. I would never be as energetic, as ambitious, as crazy, as rebellious as I would in my youth. And I think that for the people who know me, know that I took full advantage of it, maybe a little too much. And to who? And so the battle is not so much with myself, it's like these beauty standards that are being shoved down my throat day in, day out. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing that aging is not only severely affecting women in my age group. I'm seeing girls so young on the interwebs in real life with full grown woman aesthetic. They're up in the stores buying creams, doing all this or whatever. I've seen girls 12, 13, 14 with makeup, with a full beat, looking fabulous. I mean, but highly inappropriate in my opinion. Like, let's not allow these young girls to be taught from such a young age that their value is on their youth and on their beauty, because we're feeding into these beauty standards hardcore at this point. Like, we went full throttle, and it's that meme that goes around, you're not ugly, you're just poor. And it's like, yes, with money you can take better care of yourself, and then you can modify your body. Why should we want to teach women that's the whole point? Like, you want to get rich so you can be pretty, because that's so important. And it's just like, putting these horrendous values with young girls that they're eating up with a spoon, because I see it myself. I mean, these girls are snatched and looking fabulous, and I love it for them. And I just hope that it doesn't become like that, that's all that there is. Like, I just hope that that is not what this generation, what if that becomes. But I'm afraid that it is. And I hurt for these girls of what it must feel like in a world of today. It's just like the standards of just, they are unattainable for most. And looking back of how much stress and how much the judgment and the weight that I carried with myself over not feeling enough, and being this and that or whatever, is like, now as I'm older, I'm just like, I don't want to know that girl. I mean, there's a lot of other reasons why I don't want to know that girl of my 20s, but this is another reason why I don't want to know, because it's just like, what a waste of time and energy to put in over something so fleeting. I am conflicted in wanting to rah-rah against these unattainable, unrealistic beauty standards, and my wanting to respect women's choice, because I believe in women's choice. So I don't want to go on this rah-rah campaign of like, you shouldn't do this to your body, and blah, 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 blah. I used to be a little bit, misjudgy, a little bit like holier than thou type attitude. Not that I felt it deep in my bones that I was holier than thou. I just like to talk, obviously. My father, before I knew it was an insult, my father called me motor mouth. I tend to get very passionate. People become hostile, and then we just, But I mean no harm. So I'm trying to be much more conscious about what I say, what comes out of my mouth, because sometimes I just be getting diarrhea of the mouth. Absolutely. Happens in nervous situations. Anywho, moving on. But for someone who doesn't partake in Botox and filler, you can feel like very much the odd man out. Whatever her name is. What's her name? Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner gets a new face. Everybody is just like gaga. Lindsay Lohan, people were on the floor and just, she looks fabulous, wonderful, da 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 da. There's this excitement over a woman looking ever younger, stay in an infantile state. But if a woman chooses not to, then she's a rebel and she's going against the grain and she's so brave, and it's like, what? Like, you wouldn't say this to George Clooney. Men are able to still maintain their sexiness, their appeal far into their 50s, 60s, and so. I mean, some of these 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds are like having babies. I mean, and as a woman, the whole thing of us losing value as we age is thrown down our throats. Men are not pressured to stay forever young. They're also not called a bunch of horrible, no good, very bad names either. They get great names like Daddy, Silver Fox, Eligible Bachelor. What do women get? One positive word, cougar. And that is in relation to being with a younger man. Still, being called something nice means that this older woman was snatched enough to get a younger man. So she's a cougar. But otherwise, she's a hag, crazy cat lady, spinster, like all these horrible, no good, very bad names. I have never once ever heard anyone say that a man is aging gracefully. If women are to age, they are required to do it gracefully, whatever that means. I'm turning 40 this year, and I am finding that aging is very exhausting. And not in that, like, my body isn't what it used to be, because it's not. My energy levels are low, or I'm waking up with pains that don't make any sense, or that I'm trying every trick in the book to keep myself infantile looking and smooth as a dolphin for as long as financially possible. It's hard out here for a woman, just period. And it's upsetting to me when people champion Pamela Anderson as, a rebel, or, aging gracefully, or, like, she's just tired. Like, it's exhausting being a woman. The amount of time, money, and energy that is put into beautifying yourself to get as close to the beauty standards as you possibly can is exhausting. It's expensive. It's time consuming. It's just, after a while, after doing it for 2 decades, exhaustion with the whole thing is part of it, is part of the aging. You're just like, I don't want to every morning have to paint my face to be seen in public. I knew aging was going to be an issue in my life as a woman when I saw the movie Death Becomes Her, starring Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, and Goldie Hawn. Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn's characters drink a potion that will keep them forever young, but does require upkeep. Just the same as pretty much any procedure that you can get nowadays, except that yes, eventually you will die. But this one was to live forever and stay beautiful. It does require upkeep. So I was very well aware of this unwritten requirement, expectation of women to stay in an infantile state as long as possible and to be smooth as a dolphin until death. One may not realize just how much work and money and energy is involved in all of this. Women are expected to adhere to beauty standards, or at the very least get as close to the beauty standards as possible. I don't think there's ever been a time in history where nowadays you can walk in and pick from the conveyor belt of beautiful features and add them to your body. We are almost becoming, people are just starting to not look like people. Everybody's kind of looking the same, which is not even the point of this whole rant. It really has to do with women such as myself who are battling this immense pressure to stay young by any means possible. My upset is far beyond the exhaustion of being bombarded with the anti-aging products and the anti-aging campaigns and this being surrounded by conformists to the highest degree. Everybody's got Botox, filler. It feels like it's a requirement to exist in today's society. I am always I feel like I'm gonna break, and I have to keep reminding myself, which is pathetic but true, that there's more to life than how I appear. I will do my best, my damnedest, to present myself in the best way possible. But am I gonna go out of my way? In some respects, yes. Do I color my hair? Yes, because I'm not ready to let go. There are some things that I'm just not ready for at this age of 40. But what I won't do is try to turn back the hands of time, money and energy and time that I could spend off living, doing things, being in great company, eating great meals, sipping good wine. I want to have experiences. I want to be on my deathbed feeling fulfilled. I want to experience life, to soak it all up. When I'm laying on my deathbed, that I am not filled with regret. I don't think that I am going to regret not having stayed as youthful looking as I possibly could. Men are investing their money and their time and their energy on things that are either going to return or they're going to enrich their lives. And I just don't see how women mutilating themselves, modifying their bodies to no end with all of these risk factors involved, mind you, so that they keep this appearance that they might have had in their 20s. Like I'm trading out my quality of life to make sure that I'm attractive to everybody around me, that people are comfortable around me, so that I can get compliments that you look great for your age. This is not what is going to serve me in life, in my future. It is not going to let me live a comfortable life in retirement. And experiencing people in my life not being able to live out to old age has changed everything about how I see time and what I see as valuable in life. And what keeps me from breaking, what keeps me from succumbing to the pressures of stopping Father Time dancing on my face, is that my experiences of seeing people not being able to reach old age and all of the time and all of the things that they are going to miss out on. I am not willing to play with my time here on earth. I want to soak it up and enjoy it to its fullest. And personally, making people comfortable and appeasing people by my appearance just seems like a big waste of time.